and gear store, an interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when it comes to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when we signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain right, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up to fight for my freedoms and rights. That's the price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like a fight that you're itching for.
Hey, glad you could join us here. It's Armed Alabama again, your favorite show here on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Glad you could join us here. Of course, this is the show where we talk about your self-defense, firearm and ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, proper range etiquette, Alabama law, Florida law, Mississippi law, and, of course, federal law. And we are heard not only here in Mobile and Baldwin County, but also people tune in from Mississippi and Pensacola. We get a lot of phone calls from each of those states. And if you want to call into the studio tonight, you can call us here at the studio, 251-343-0106. And, of course, as always, we are simulcasting live on our Facebook page, and that's Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. While you're there, please like, save, and follow. And that way you'll be notified every time that we go live for our show or we post content, news articles, or any type of commentary from myself or the judge. Speaking of the judge, he's in the studio with us tonight. I hope you had a good time off last week.
Oh, yeah, I had a great time off with a terrible toothache. So I always thought, what the people used to tie their heads or whatever. But, Tuesday night before Thanksgiving isn't the best time to track down your dentist. But finally went away, thank goodness. But, Adam, if I could, first I want to introduce Wesley Parks with McCoy Outdoors. And we'll be talking, so gather around and get ready to make some notes, maybe about some gift ideas for the gun lover in your family. And as we know, it ain't Christmas unless there's a gun under the tree.
That's right. That's right.
One thing I do want to mention, Adam, we got two kind of legal issues that are interesting. Under the Gun Control Act of 68, the nationwide framework is, of course, you go into McCoy Outdoor and I give them my ID, whatever I have, but I have to be a resident of Alabama, and that's a federal law, even though, of course, the same background check is that's going to be run in Texas, but the feds won't let that happen. And about 3 years ago, it's a set-up lawsuit. It's basically the Second Amendment Foundation filed a lawsuit against federal government and the Attorney General, claiming that that's a violation of the Second Amendment because they're running the same checks, and the only way that person could buy that gun in Dallas was they lived somewhere kind of strange, like there were only 3 gun dealers and all of them wanted, $75 for the transfer and then $25 for the, it was like half the price of the gun. So they won in the U.S. District Court in Dallas, Texas. It was appealed to the Fifth Circuit. And I'm not so sure what the initial vote was, but the final vote on, hey, we're going to hear it again, was, I think it was 7-8. We lost by 1 vote. Well, they filed a petition, I guess our guy, Alan Gura, on behalf of the gun purchaser with the U.S. Supreme Court. We hadn't heard whether it's been granted yet because that was just done a few days ago. But that's an interesting lawsuit anyway. That's one that if I didn't know Alan, I wouldn't know it even existed, And then the other is of course, the nationwide concealed carry reciprocity act that almost passed is certain doomed to failure, even though a lot of the people probably are raising money by send your congressman email or letter. We had 21 days left in Congress. If they hadn't done it in 2 years, I don't think they're going to do it. But so that's kind of new on the legal front there.
So, Judge, just to follow up with a question on your first report there, do you think that might be something where, you can purchase a firearm within Mississippi? If you're a resident of Alabama, you can purchase a long gun, but not a handgun. Did you think that's something that maybe eventually, if it goes to the Supreme Court, that you could buy a handgun or a pistol as well as a long gun in any state?
And there might be, some states that have that you can have stronger restrictions than the federal government. But generally, if that lawsuit worked out, which I'm always pessimistic, but if it did, if you were, wherever on your trip to whatever, of course, we like to get all our guns from McCoy's, but, if you decide you got out to some place you said you need an extra pistol, you could buy one. And
you could be browsing and find one on sale or something.
Well,
like
it's
that.
just a relic, from '68. That's the Saturday night specials. And, you couldn't keep up with who people were then, really. And we had cardboard driver's license and have your picture on it and all that. But now they probably know what kind of gun you're thinking about buying before you do.
Right. No, absolutely. That's a good point.
So, Wesley, I've always thought, I say that jokingly, it's not Christmas unless there's a gun under the tree. But the problem with that is, especially a self-defense gun, so many men buy a pistol for their wives and it just doesn't fit. It's just the wrong gun.
Right.
What would you, are there gift certificates? What could you do if you wanted to do something like that?
Something that we started doing probably close to 2 years ago at McCoy's is just what you said. If you come in and say, I want to buy my wife, my son, my brother, whoever, a firearm, doesn't matter if it's a pistol, rifle, or shotgun, what we've started doing to eliminate possible makeup paperwork is we will sell a gift card for the amount of whatever gun they want to buy. And if they don't know exactly what kind of gun, we'll ask them for a budget.
Yeah.
And if they say it's $400 or if they say it's $4,000, whatever they say, we'll sell them that gift card. And with the understanding that if it's not, if they don't leave a lot of money on the table, then we will gladly refund the difference.
Yeah.
Now, if they leave a lot of money on the table, we try to eliminate that up front because we don't keep a lot of money. We live in a world of credit cards now and not cash, so it's difficult for us to give.
I'm sure most people are going to get right up to that limit, if not spend more.
Correct. Correct.
But that way you can get, let's say it's your teenage son, you can get a shotgun that fits him.
That's right. That's right. And it's not like buying a pair of pants or a pair of shoes. But at the same time, if you have someone that's 5'7" versus somebody that's 6'2", they're not going to be able to shoot the exact same gun comfortably.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that they can't physically shoot it, but they're not going to be able. It's not going to fit them.
It may turn them off from shooting forever, or hunting, or whatever they're doing.
That's right. And with handguns, a lot of these modern semi-automatics, whether it be the Glocks or the Smith & Wesson M&Ps, they have grip panels to where you can make the grip effectively larger in diameter, smaller in diameter.
Yeah.
And so, and that makes our life easy. But at the same time, if you sell somebody a Glock and they read an ad on a Smith & Wesson and they decide in their mind they'd rather have the Smith & Wesson or vice versa, then we have to do paperwork to correct that. And it's a red tape nightmare. So we do everything we can to avoid that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's very important as the consumer comes into McCoy's and says, okay, I'm looking for a certain type of firearm.
That's right.
And then say, okay, well, let me try this one, this one, this one. And it's very important to fit a firearm to somebody. It's kind of like buying shoes.
That's exactly.
Well, it was like in the old days
right.
when computers first came out, I was always irritated. They'd say, what do you want to use it for?
Right.
And it's the same thing. Hey, is this a self-defense? Is this a hunting, hunting target practice? What's it for? And that makes a big difference.
That's right.
And you're going to carry it all the time. That's going to make a difference.
And how are you going to carry it?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. Because, you got to carry that thing all day. You want it to be too uncomfortable. Remember, folks, our number here is 251-343-0106, right? And if you got a text, you can text that number. You can call with a question for Wesley Parks or us. And we're going to step into a short break and be back with more of Armed Alabama after these messages from the folks paying the bills around here.
In 3 seconds.
In 3 seconds, 2, 1, and...
And I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Here's Johnny.
That's when you start squeezing off the shots there. Welcome back to Armed Alabama.
Absolutely.
Makes me think of Cole, though. That was the move from the movie The Shining, which, was snowbound, winter retreat or whatever. And you actually went to the hotel it was filmed at, didn't you, Adam?
I sure did. It's been about 4 years ago now, but yeah, we went to Colorado out there, and I'm trying to think of that area that is called something Park.
Yeah. Is it Estes Park?
Estes
Yeah,
Park. That's
yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, we actually seen the hotel and everything. I was like, wow.
Well, I'm going to do something that I guess I planned, and then when I found out Wesley was coming, I kind of changed my mind, but I've got the backup. If anybody, now let me get the exact language on this, because I don't want anybody to dispute what I'm saying. If anybody can tell me, there are groups that keep up with guns that appear in movies and that kind of thing. And they have a list. I think it's called I'll give you the name, National something gun. They actually, every time a certain kind of gun shows up, they make counts of it. If anybody can tell me the top pistol that is of all time appearing in movies, they can win a AR-15 PMag Gen 3.
That's
we want
a
the
good
top
question.
one, and it was kind of a surprise to me. Although I've noticed it a lot, but I'm still a little surprised. And I'll tell y'all at the break if we don't have somebody. But I'm not going to say the name of the group that does this, because somebody will just go over there and look up. But you start thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense when you hear about it. But we'll anyway, AR-15, a PMag, if you know the top gun of all time is a pistol that has appeared in movies. And that's as of a few weeks ago. And I don't think it's changed.
That's a good question. I'm interested and curious. So Wesley and I are sitting there scribbling back and forth on which we think it might be.
Yeah.
So I had made mention earlier about people tuning in from Mississippi and also from Florida. In our listening audience, of course, we have lots of people tuning in on our Facebook page. And if you want to
we
listen,
hadn't reminded them either.
yeah, if you want to watch us live on simulcast here on our Facebook page is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5, and you can like, save, and follow. But we have people chiming in. Justin is watching us on Facebook from Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Oh, wow. I wish I was up there.
And Tim is watching us from Texas, I believe. That's correct. So, yeah, different people listening from all over the place on the internet. Of course, we've had, Judge, in the past, people listening from Hawaii and Ohio and California. So it's kind of neat.
But that's how I found Matt Kenovi. I'd listened to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk for years, and I thought I just needed another. I put him on something and put him in the car. And I thought, well, there's got to be one that found him up in Missouri. So, it was kind of the new way to go.
Matt has a really good show. I have a hard time listening to other shows, even the NRA shows on, on podcasts and stuff like that. But I always enjoy listening to Matt Kenovi.
Well, it's funny. I listened to him a long time. Obviously, they were me to talk to him. And Matt Green, our friend here, I would send Matt Green like some new horrible piece of legislation, but for some reason I had Kenovi's address in there too. It'd go to both of them, and then he'd write back and say, "Boy, thank you for sending that." And that's how we hooked up. So it was kind of meant to be.
Wow.
Wesley, another. We were looking at potential Christmas gifts, but lots of people, well, most people hate recoil. Now, there are a lot of, tough guys. I don't want to admit I hate recoil, but different people, Limb Saver, Packmeyer, whoever is, they either sell kind of one size fits all or several size fits all slip-on types.
Pad, yeah.
And, there's kind of a newer one that should fit on the M4 buttstock.
Well, let me talk about that just a minute. Limb Saver somewhat revolutionized the recoil pad.
I remember how they were 30 years ago,
right? And
they were just waste of money.
Well,
hard piece of rubber.
With the introduction of what we call gel pads, Kickies is very popular in the shotgun competitive world, whether it be sporting clay, trapper skeet, and Packmeyer, of course, who's been around forever. They have their Decelerator series of pads, which are truly wonderful, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But what Limb Saver did was they came out with an inexpensive, high absorption pad. Don't know what it is. To me, it's just a soft rubber.
Yeah.
But
I've seen the name before.
And they somehow made a way or were willing to make pads for a lot of guns that are pre-fit. So like a Remington 700 BDL, for example.
Well, then they have the grind to fit.
They're doing the grind to fit,
and
like
not that hard to do.
That's right. But you can go to the Limb Saver website, and they have pads for maybe 100 plus different rifles and shotguns, and for the most part, they fit really well. Now, there are some exceptions to that, but again, Remington 700,
especially you get into the polymer guns.
That's right. But they've made the rest of the recoil pad world kind of pay attention.
And this is a grind to fit. I noticed. I just haven't put it on, and if somebody does it every day can do it better than me. And your guy there at your shop or at McCoy's could do it also. But basically what you do is you get a what do you call them, a sander,
disc sander.
And I learned it by spraying it. It sounds terrible, spraying down the sanding, what do you call it, the leaf you put on, whatever it is, spray it down with WD-40 and keep it wet,
right?
And then just keep, and of course you don't want to overdo it,
right?
It's better to do a little, and it does it pretty smooth. Right. And in fact, my daughter has an old M1 carbine, and it don't kick much, but girl, you want to avoid scaring them at all. But it's got a tiny, buttstock on it. So, but I've got one to fit on that, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
But, if you're not handy, don't fool with it. But you can get them like this, the slip-ons, and I can't think of what it's called, Limb Saver. This is kind of the new gym. It's called like Vibrant or something like that. I can't remember quite.
4 callers.
All right, let's take our callers. See first if any of them have a answer to the question.
Lines are blowing up here. We got 4 or 5 callers.
Great. All right, Adam, why don't you handle answering? I can't see the screen from where I am.
All right, so let's go ahead and get Tony on line 2. Hi, Tony. Welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you could call in tonight. Do you have tonight's answer to tonight's questions?
I believe I got it.
Let's have it.
Would that be the Colt Single Action Army?
No, but that's a good try.
That is a very
really is a
very good answer.
You'll be surprised when you hear it.
Obviously, a cowboy movie fan.
Yeah,
right.
Obviously. Okay, next one I think is Randy. Hi, Randy. Welcome to Armed Alabama. Do you have the answer to tonight's question?
I know I got the answer. It's the most iconic gun, and no other gun looks like it on TV. The Beretta 92F.
You got it. You got it. See, didn't that surprise you?
Not at all, because I own one.
Yeah, well, me too. And
I had one.
Let me tell you what I just did. I put in the decocker that effectively made it the 92G or whatever, where it's not the safety anymore. It's a straight decocker. And,
that's what I have on mine.
Good for you.
I have the decocker.
I love it. And that was a lot of people's, and to non-gun people, it sounds insane. You're still not taking your safety.
Yeah, you can have that hammer back and you pull that down, man. It makes people nervous.
Well, that's right. But I tell you, when I've kind of learned to shoot on one, that had a decocker only, and the safety was, there was a 10-pound pull or 12 or whatever the first shot.
Right.
And when I started using that Beretta, I'd squeeze, what's wrong? And I thought, I can't afford to let that happen anymore. I finally kind of got used to it. But before you go, we need to put you on hold and let Philip get your address, or you can come by here. Are you in town, or you?
I live in Lucedale.
Okay, we'll send it to you. So don't hang up. Wesley wanted to mention something to you. Go ahead.
Hey, Randy, do you have the FS model, or do you have the new M9?
The FS.
FS, and you converted it to a G model, decock only?
It was actually like that when I bought it. I bought it from a retired officer.
Okay.
Put a big
I'm trying
sheet
to
out.
Remember what that variant is.
Put a big. Well, somebody
that's
told
a great
me
pistol.
that you basically, and now don't trust me, I'm not a gunsmith, that basically all the 92s it'll work on. They tell you only certain ones.
Yeah.
But, if you're somebody that loses stuff easy and got a lot of little pins and stuff.
Yeah.
So, put a big sheet on the floor or something.
Yeah.
But good for you. Let me give you over to Philip, and he'll get your address.
Thank you, Randy.
Good job.
Judge, we have one more caller on. It's our favorite buddy, Joe.
All right. Let's talk to Joe.
Yeah, let me try to run through it for you. On the synagogue shooting, the president said they need to have some guards at that synagogue shooting. And when that guy shot up that church up there in Carolina,
yeah, remember that.
the crowd and I hit the car.
I think he was sentenced to death. Joe, if you got a bad connection, we're kind of breaking up on us.
Last week in Chicago, they had a security guard that stopped a mass shooter up there at a club.
I got it right here on my notes. Yeah.
Not only that, now this week at the mall in Birmingham, the good guy with a gun, they done killed him too.
Well,
so, I mean, look like the municipality with black people with guns that are good, they getting dead.
Well, I don't know about that, but thank you, Joe. We're right up against a hard break. Keep listening to us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll
Charlie,
address that when we come back.
Break time. I'll give you the rest of the guns when we come back.
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself. But being this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, Bunk?
I don't think he feels lucky. I'm going to give you the whole list in a minute, but I want to thank Steve Moore, who's a hometown lawyer here in Mobile, and we went to law school together. He's a good guy, and he does personal injury work. So, from time to in Mobile, you're going to get hit once a year, probably, if you drive around. So especially if somebody has hit you and they seem to be at fault, give Steve a call, or you can go visit them on the web at www.morelawfirm.al.com. And let me give you the rest of the guns. Beretta was number 1. Number 2 was the Glock 17. Number 3, the 1911. Which, when you think about it, obviously that's going to be in the top ones. It's been 100 years, more than 100 years old now. But let's see. Let me find number 4. Y'all talk a minute, and I will track down number 4.
Well, Judge, during that time, once you asked the question on what was the most popular firearm in gun or in movies, we had a lot of people text in as well.
Internet Movie Firearms Database.
Yeah. And that's a good, have the app. It's a good one. So some people had guessed Star, Model B, 9mm. There was several people that guessed that, which is a good guess. And
guess
others,
the Luger. I mean, think about how many, war movies.
Yeah, World War II movies.
That's number 4.
And then we had several people actually guessed Beretta Model 92.
Got it.
Trent guessed it. David guessed it.
I guess we could be hyper technical. Is it the M9 or the 92? And because you got the Glock 17, 19. They're slightly different, but this is how they do the tabulation. Let me mention 5 is the iconic MP40 submachine gun. So that's kind of interesting. But, Wesley and I were talking during
What,
the break.
MP40 or MP5?
No, it's 40.
MP40.
They probably made more movies and
Maybe.
a lot of junk, but in the past 20 years than the prior 70. And so, I can't imagine who counts these.
44 didn't make it.
Right. But Wesley, another gift idea I have, but obviously the recoil pad is great. You could go down to McCoy's, but there's several different brands. Most of them are good, and I'm sure. And you can get a good brand that particular one isn't good, but the electronic ear protection, and this is the muff style I've got here, but some have the what is it called, the other kind that kind of stick in the ear,
Like a Walker's Game.
Yeah,
concept.
right.
Noise canceling ear protection.
and it seems to defy physics. You think, how can I be? Because it makes your hearing better.
It does.
But the second that, however many decibels it takes, comes in, it shuts it down.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the consumers are fortunate this day and time because the first ones to come out were almost $300.
Yeah.
And there's a company called Ear Pro that has always made really good ones, and unfortunately they've been expensive. But Howard Light and Silencio and Peltor, they're all selling them now, and you can buy them for $50 to $60.
You can get $50 to $500.
That work really reliably. You can buy some real cheap ones that are $29.99, and unfortunately they don't seem to last too long. But that seems like the target price nowadays for quality reliable ones are $60 to $70.
Of course, you can go and get those at McCoy's.
McCoy Outdoors sells them. Sure do.
Yeah.
And that is a great.
They like the sound.
That's a great Christmas item.
Well, I'll tell you, I use those things when I'm cutting the grass.
Yep.
Use them if I'm up in the country on a tractor. I mean, you don't have to just use them for shooting. Any yard tools, weed eating, and all that. Absolutely.
20 years or so ago, I had to go to the ear doctor or something. Of course, he ran a hearing test, and he said, have you been around an explosion?
Exactly.
And after that, I like you. I started wearing them. I wish I had 20 years earlier.
Right.
Like, yeah, you should. Chainsaw, skill saw, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's just a thing to do. But that'd be a good gift. And I've got some, everybody always needs, because I can't find anything, safety glasses, shooting glasses, that's something you can get. That's another thing you can get from $12.99 to $129.
That's right.
And depending on how often your person loses their stuff. But a lot of stuff that you give the gun person.
Yeah. If you're just now joining us, we have in the studio with us Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors. And of course, we're just talking Christmas gifts, not only for the man in your life, but for the woman in your life as well. But one of the things that is interesting about McCoy's is not just firearms or hunting supplies or whatever. Y'all have a lot of really nice clothing, top of the line running shoes. I mean, it really is a store for everybody.
Yep, we appreciate that. We think so. We have a running specialty store within McCoy's.
All the runners tell me that's the place.
Run by a guy named Joe Sims that's been doing it for a long, long time. Uncle Joe, he's a marathon runner, or was in past. He's now pretty much a bicycle, walk the dog kind of guy, but he's run a number of marathons and trained hundreds of people to run marathons. And
most people hardly remember the days when they were experts that would fit your foot with the proper shoe. Right. And that's what he does. And
he does. And he also, you don't have to be a runner. I mean, he addresses ailments, whether you have plantar fasciitis and you're not a runner or shin splints or whatever. He gets a lot of referrals from a lot of doctors in Mobile.
So many people wear, quote, running shoes.
I do.
But they're not doing it for running.
That's right.
And they're different types you should wear, for walking.
That's right. Yeah. So, we try to provide more than just the merchandise, but provide service to go with the merchandise and have some knowledge. And
the thing I like about y'all, I hate to cut, is unlike, remember the days, maybe it was Circuit City, where somebody would follow you the second you came in the struck.
Right.
And y'all, if somebody wants to look, they can look all day. But if they need help, you're there.
We try to. We're not perfect, but we certainly try to. Yeah.
But that's always, and there were several, kind of chain stores like that where they're practically following you, trying to get the commission, I assume.
Right. And let me, while I'm here and have the opportunity, let me also say that we have a couple new folks working at McCoy's that are doing a wonderful job in our archery department. We have a guy, Zane Montgomery, Z as in zebra, Z-A-N-E, Zane Montgomery, very knowledgeable, has about 6 years, I think, of archery business experience.
Wow.
And we are blessed to have a guy that recently retired after many years in the chemical business, Rusty Schultz, and Rusty has traveled the world hunting all types of different goats and sheep and ibex, and he doesn't just talk the talk, but he walks the walk. I mean, he's very, very knowledgeable about not only very good quality, accurate firearms, but he has an incredible amount of knowledge on optics, whether it be binoculars or rifle scopes.
I'm sure ammunition also.
And ammunition. He's a hand loader. He shoots. He shoots long distance for pleasure. He's not a competitive shooter, but he shoots long distance. So he's incredibly knowledgeable. I mean, I've been at it a long time and thought I knew a lot, but Rusty knows a lot.
He's two good additions too. And you can buy your bow, over the internet. Maybe you'll get cheaper, maybe not, but you may get the wrong thing.
You may get
you're
the
not
wrong
pleased
thing.
with,
That's
and
right.
then you got a problem there.
That's right.
And that's what's best about McCoy's is walking in. Was one of the reasons why we are so glad and so honored that you guys are our number one sponsor for our show.
Well, thanks.
And the judge and I have talked at length numerous times that that we're glad to have you guys, and then that we're glad to be sponsored.
And of course, you're in they call it SpringHill Plaza Shopping Center.
SpringHill Plaza Shopping Center. Shopping center on the north side of SpringHill Avenue, just west of I-65. I tell people
where the old K&B was.
I tell people it's in the shopping center behind the Waffle House, and everybody knows where that is.
That's probably the one to use.
Yeah.
Nobody can remember back when K&B and Woolco was that, and then Pantry Pride.
Pantry Pride.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows where the Waffle House is.
Everybody knows
that's
where
a
the
better,
Waffle House is. Yeah.
Better mark.
That's right.
We have a caller online, but we're coming up to a break, so we'll wait. Okay, real quick, we'll get Wayne in. Wayne's calling from Mobile. He's inquiring about a handgun for his granddaughter.
Okay.
Hi, Wayne. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, guys. Look, the easy question for you. I've got a granddaughter beginning to like shooting. We've been a couple of times, but little girl, not big. Hands are, kind of small, not strong, all that girl stuff. So I was wondering, can you give me a starting point where we could at least start looking, say, caliber, semi-automatic, revolver, make, model, or something where we could go look at that and then spin off, or something that you would recommend for somebody like that?
So Wayne, what was her age?
She's 20.
Okay, 20. So I was thinking 10. 12.
Yeah, I was too, but 20 because that first thought popped in my mind.
We may have to get you after we may have to come back after our break because I'm sure Wesley's got several ideas.
Yep.
So we'll just answer it after we come back from our commercial break.
I'll hang up and listen on the radio.
That sounds good.
Thank you so much, Wayne, for your call and question. That's good.
And there are a number of ideas that we'll talk about in the break, and that you could help them with there, because that's so important not to scare people.
But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Good luck.
So
speaking, it was about a 30-second gap, so I had to shut the good luck off.
Speaking of somebody who's got a long career and knows what they're talking about, of course, we have Wesley Parks is here with McCoy Outdoors. And just before we went to the break, Wesley, we got a call from, I think it was Wayne, was inquiring about a good pistol for his granddaughter who is 20 years old. So we just briefly ran through it during the break, and you made some interesting points. So if you want to go ahead and answer Wayne's question.
Sure. Typically what I do and what we try to do at the store is when someone comes in and wants to buy a pistol, whether it's for them for the first time or for someone else for the first time, ask a few questions. And the questions that I would ask would be, what is the intent of use? Is this a gun that you want to just shoot for fun to plink with? Is this a gun that you want to use for self-protection? Is it a gun that you want to do both? Are you going to carry the gun? Are you going to leave it in a vehicle or leave it in the house and possibly in a bedside stand or in a drawer or closet to where it's easily accessible as a self-defense weapon? And if that is the case, then I try to determine what the end user's physical limitations might be, if they have any. If someone has poor grip strength, for example, a lot of revolvers, especially on the double action mode, have a 14 to 17 pound trigger that travels almost an inch, and that requires a lot of muscle contraction and some dexterity, and it's difficult to stay on target when you're struggling to pull a trigger. You can watch the muzzle of the pistol and it's waving all over the place. So we ask those questions and try to determine what caliber to start with. And if you've never had
experience,
you've never had any experience and you just want to get into it and you want to shoot, well, a 22 long rifle cartridge is the least expensive cartridge to shoot out there. And you can buy a box of 50 for $4, as to where if you buy a box of 59 millimeters, you're going to spend $9 to $12, $13.
Right. Or 357 Magnums.
And the 22 long rifle has almost no recoil, muzzle rise as compared to the 9 millimeter or 38 or
of
the
course,
357.
the old story is it's killed more people than all of them together. But of course, it's so popular.
Right.
That's why it is.
Right. There's a lot of questions and debate about, well, what's the smallest cartridge that you can buy and be effective for self-defense?
Yeah.
Well, you can.
The best one is the one you have and are comfortable with.
The best one is the one you shoot the best,
right?
Especially in a high stress situation.
I mean, you've seen this before. How many men, especially, will get a 12 gauge shotgun, for their small wife, and she's never shot it before,
and she shoots it one time.
Yeah, one time it's gonna about knock her down.
One time, and she says no.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'll take my chances.
So, Wesley, to your point, if you remember, we came in with my young daughter,
right,
youngest daughter, and purchased a Walther P22,
right,
just for that very reason.
That's exactly right.
Semi-auto 22 long rifle,
very easy to operate, very accurate.
Right.
As a matter of fact, she shot it again over the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah. Revolvers, and I had this conversation with a good customer and his wife today. Revolvers are simple, and you can't emphasize how simple they are compared to semi-automatics. Semi-automatics have a lot of moving parts. There's a certain amount
and they intimidate new gun owners.
That's
too.
Right. And there's a certain amount of resistance that you have to impose on the handgun to ensure that it functions, cycles properly.
Correct.
And with revolvers, it may jump up in the air over your head, and that requires time and effort to bring it back on a plane to reacquire the target. But yet it's going to cycle the next time and fire, rotate the cylinder and fire, and should every single time you pull the trigger, because you're providing the horsepower, so to speak, to make all that happen.
Right.
As to where with a semi-automatic, whether it's a blowback design or an inertia design, there's a lot of moving parts that are going on at the same time.
They're probably going to jam on you.
And they can be problematic and not be as reliable.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to hold 12 or 13 rounds in their pocket versus 5 or 6.
And as we know, I mean, my Beretta, I think I have a 20 round magazine, but most gunfights 2 to 3 rounds,
right?
Right. And that's it, and it's over in a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Well, there are some 22 revolvers that hold
10 rounds now.
10 rounds,
yeah. 9 and 10 rounds. That's right.
And I tell you, those are fun to plink with.
They are.
They are. Yes, they are.
They're very accurate too.
They're scary accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's you can take an old Ruger single 6 that they shoot better than the person shooting the gun. So the limitation is not the gun, it's the actual person.
And contrary to myths, really the guns today are so much better than the guns made with 80s, 70s.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really because of the CAD devices and the computer cutouts and all. The tolerances are just so exact now.
Right.
And, we've made a lot of sorry cars in the 70s and 80s. Made a lot of sorry guns in.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
In brand, we talked about the Walther. How about in revolvers? You got Rugers there?
Well, Smith & Wesson still rules the roost.
Yeah,
the 38 specials. That's our number one selling revolver. The little, if you want to call it a Chief Special, which is a 2-inch, whether it's a steel frame or aluminum frame. They're 5-shot, shoot 38 special. Some variants are available with 3-inch barrels, which increases the sight plane a little bit, but most people don't shoot enough to really appreciate.
And for practice shooting, you can get like wad cut or something like that.
You can get reduced recoil rounds, and most of the ammo manufacturers have started making self-defense rounds that are geared towards women. They've lightened the bullet, but they've designed the bullet, the projectile, to be a hollow point that has controlled expansion, but yet still does expand rapidly with a lighter charge. So you're still getting good terminal performance without all the recoil.
Yeah, and some people get so obsessed with all that. I'd rather have less recoil.
Absolutely. Well,
because I always say there's no such thing as knockdown power unless it's a cannon.
Well, if you shoot 50 times and miss, guess what?
Yeah,
You've missed. If you shoot one time and hit,
Newton's law is, every action equal and opposite reaction. If it knocked them down, it's going to knock you down, the recoil.
Right.
So there's just a lot out there that none of us can keep up with. So we would tell Wayne, Wayne ought to stop in and talk to one of y'all at McCoy's. And I like the gift certificate idea. And then he can go into, what's she going to use it for?
Well, if he's not going to surprise his granddaughter, he hopefully he could bring her in, make a date of it, let her take him to lunch, or someone take someone to lunch, and then come by and our guys will spend time with Wayne and with the granddaughter and ask a few questions and see what she's comfortable with, and give her some tips.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Now y'all are open 9 to 6?
9 to 6 through the week, 9 to 5 on Saturday.
Okay, and close Sunday. That's great. We appreciate all your information. Let me mention, too, we appreciate Steve Moore and his law firm for sponsoring us. If you have a personal injury issue or just want to ask questions about, you think something may be wrong, see them at 8 North Dearborn Street. That's the Moore Law Firm that's downtown. Or you can call them at 251-445-7602 or www.moorelawfirm.al.com. If you need your heat tuned up right now, so you better call Hansen Heating and Air. You can see them on the web at Hansen Air, Hansen, air.com. You ought to get, best thing for your door is a doorbell camera. If you don't go and get all the camera, see who's there, whether they got a gun or whether the mailman, and go and see them at Hunter Security over in Daphne. They can put those in. And Foster Chiropractic Group, if you strain your back on one of these things, if you need a safe or anything like that, of course, you can get them from McCoy's. You can also from Mike Ward's. And I think I got everybody there.
Yeah, we still didn't get to a lot that we had tonight, but there's always next week.
He's cheating on the clock on us. We'll see you back at same time, same channel next week, next Tuesday.